What's going on, guys? Brian Matthews here with another video for you from Southern Pine Outdoors. And today's video is going to be all about my homemade gravity feeder. It's supposed to feed deer, could feed squirrels, could feed raccoons, or in my case, a whole bunch of crows. So if these kind of videos interest you, if you like hunting, fishing, the outdoors, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'd love to have you stay in tune with all the videos to come. Smash that like button on this video and drop us a comment down below as to other videos that we can do for you, or any suggestions in this particular video that I need to go into more depth with. I'd be glad to help you out, respond to that comment, or even make a separate video altogether. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned and we'll get into this deer feeder that I made. So this is the deer feeder. As you can see, it's pretty long. It's roughly 5 foot in length. All it is black corrugated pipe. You can buy sticks of these 10 foot by 4 inches wide, or 4 inches in diameter. This is what this particular pipe is. At Lowe's or Home Depot or any local hardware store or something like that. Like I say, it comes in a 10-foot section, and it's obviously pretty flexible. Obviously, the shorter you make it, the stiffer it becomes. But a 10-foot section fit in the back of my pickup truck pretty easily. Could fit in a car or something like that. It does kind of curl up a little bit to be able to get into your vehicle on your way home. So you don't need a long bed pickup truck or a trailer or anything like that by any means to get it home. So basically what I did, obviously it has been cut in half. And so I went from a 10-foot section to a 5-foot section. Now the other parts that you will need are these end caps here, and they are a little bit difficult to actually get off, which is, I guess, a good thing. But as you can see, they've got these little notches in there that will actually clip on to the corrugated part of the feeder or the pipe to keep it from actually coming off. So obviously I've got one of these as a cap, but what I did is bought 4 of these because they were the cheapest option at $2 and I think 70 cents or 50 cents a piece. Let's just round it up to $3. You'll need to make both feeders, because you're going to cut this pipe in half so that you'll have actually 2 feeders. You'll need 4 of these. So one for the top, obviously, and then the other thing is you'll need one for the bottom. Now this is a little bit different. I'm going to walk up here a little bit closer, but you can see how it just obviously attaches. And then the reason I've got the duct tape, so what I did is cut out a section of this hole out of this cap. Now if I grab this other cap, I'll show you exactly where I cut so that it would stay on a little bit better as well. Keep my pipe from rolling. You'll see these notches. Like I say, I basically just cut one on one side of this and then cut just on this side of the other notch. Obviously you can see these 3 on this side and these 3 on this side are a little bit closer together. So you've got 2 options as far as corn coming out. I just now thought of this. This is an option as well. You could potentially turn it sideways up against the tree and have 2 holes, one on either side, of corn coming out. The only reason I didn't do that is because my deer are, for some reason, extremely hungry and love corn like most people's deer. And the reason it led me to doing this was because I put out a 50-pound bag of corn, and I kid you not, within 2 days it was completely gone. So just wanted to come out with a way to kind of slow their metabolism, or slow their diet down from eating all the corn and costing me hundreds of dollars in just corn itself. So like I say, you'll need 4 of these, and you'll cut that section, like I say, between the 2 notches, the gap between the 2 biggest notches. So once you've got that cut, the next thing you'll need to do is I actually just lined that cut that I made on the cap with the pipe itself. Now what I found out is that cap sits down about 3 rings down. So you'll make a cut from here to that third ring, just past it, right there. And then you'll come over however far you need to and cut down, obviously, right there. And then you'll cut straight across. And this is what you're left with, is that hole there. Now, once you've made that cut on this cap, it does become flimsy and doesn't stay on too well, to be honest with you. But like I say, you can get it on there, get it to stay. And the problem is it not staying, but it rotating. It'll actually spin on that pipe. So what I did is just got some black duct tape and wrapped the pipe 2 or 3 times, and then just cut a slit up either side, and then just rolled that tape up underneath the pipe there and around the sides to keep it from obviously spinning. So that's how you make the pipe itself. Once you've got the pipe put together, you just tie it to the tree with some, I would suggest some zip ties. You can use rope. I've used rope before. I actually had some bungee cords from an old, let's set this back down, from an old trail camera, and used those as well. So like I say, you can come up with different ways. The bungee cords didn't work that well just because they're so stretchy. Once you start pouring corn in it, it does become really heavy. Obviously, it's 50 pounds worth of corn, and it will hold almost exactly 50 pounds worth of corn, especially by the time it kind of comes out of the bottom and makes a pile. The other thing that I will say, it does sometimes clog, but it's going to take a while, just because of the actual corn falling through. Sometimes the hole does get kind of clogged, so make sure it's kind of elevated a little bit off the ground, so that the corn does kind of fall naturally due to gravity. And I would say, in my case, like I say, they were eating about a 50-pound bag every 2 or 3 days. And it's been exactly 4 days now. And this is a 5-foot pipe. Like I say, it was slammed full of corn. They're probably down to about here. So I would say that's less than a quarter of the corn eaten in the amount of time it would have taken them to eat the whole 50-pound bag if I just poured it straight on the ground. So like I say, to me, this is saving me money. Long term, also saving me money by not having to buy an expensive feeder that spins the corn out, a timer feeder. Now, the disadvantages to this are because it's not timed, and I'll explain some of that a little bit in the second part of this video as I show you it being set up, is the fact that because it's not timed, you can't really schedule their eating times. Right now, obviously, I've had this out. I've got the other one out in the field, and I've had it out for about 4 days, 3 or 4 days, and every time they come out right around 10 o'clock. Now, that's just because I know the deer on my property. We see them every night, and they just come out at that time. So I'm trying to work, figuring out some ideas of how to get their patterns off just a little bit to try to get them to come in a little bit earlier. And I think what the big issue is for me is they're bedding in my neighbor's property, so they're coming across my property to get to their bedding site. The other negative to this is, obviously it's not without flaws. Like I say, the corn does get stopped up every once in a while. You do have to have some other things like zip ties and things like that to attach it to the tree. It's not just a standalone unit. And then obviously using some duct tape and stuff like that to hold it together. Like I say, but for 20 bucks to get 2 of them, the pipe itself at my Lowe's that I went to was about $7, $8. And then the 2 end caps, obviously $3 a piece, rounds you up to about 20 bucks. half that, because you get 2 of them now. You get 2. That's the benefit. We'll talk about that. So, like I say, for 20 bucks, you get 2 gravity feeders, and they hold a 50-pound bag of corn each, roughly. So, in my mind, for 20 bucks, you know, you can't beat that kind of price, and you can't beat that kind of ease of putting it together and everything as well. So, let's jump to that other video and show you exactly how I've got it set up, how it's tied to the tree, and where my camera is and everything. And we'll show you my setup. So this is what the gravity feeder looks like, all put together and tied to the tree. Obviously, just use some bungee straps that you see there and some zip ties. You can even see I used some different colored zip ties for whatever I could find. Obviously the deer don't seem to mind, and basically the way it works is I come up here, I take this cap off here that I showed you previously, pour the corn down, and then it drops down through the hole that we cut down in the bottom and into the other cap as well, and it just pours out as they eat it. And sometimes it does clog up, but I have found that this prevents them from really eating all the corn at one time. Like I stated before, I put out a 50-pound bag of corn, and it was gone in less than 2 or 3 days. When you have 7 or 8 deer eating on it at any given night or any given day, it'll get gone pretty quick. But just wanted to show you that real quick as a little extra to show you it's set up and everything. And for 20 bucks, you can make 2 of these things. So it's a whole lot cheaper. I went to Academy just the other day to buy some corn, and their gravity feeder that's very similar to this, obviously theirs is probably a little bit more robust, had a couple of different spouts on it and everything. They were wanting 50 bucks for it, just for one. And I'm like, shoot, for 20 bucks I can get the drain pipe, put the caps on the end, spend a little bit of time, maybe 5-10 minutes cutting the hole out in the bottom, and then strap it to the tree, and I'm done. So like I say, this was a thing my dad came up with a few years ago, my dad and I, and decided once I got my own piece of property that I was going to do it myself, and saved a few $100 of getting a timed feeder. Now there are some advantages to a timed feeder. One advantage is you could actually obviously schedule that time for the deer to come out, or the feed to come out, and the deer hopefully come out during that time. The biggest negative I have found from those feeders are the battery life of those feeders are not great, especially depending on how much corn you actually put out and how long it runs. And then the other thing is other critters tend to get into them. We've actually had birds make nests into the cage part of it. Raccoons climb on it, squirrels climb on it. So there's a lot of negatives to those as well, other than the fact that they are a little bit more expensive than the $20 I spent for having 2 of these put together. So like I say, not to say one is better than the other. Just for me personally, I tend to go the cheaper route until it doesn't prove effective. Obviously this is pretty effective. I'm getting deer out there, just kind of hard getting them, like I say, to come out during the daytime. But shoot, trying to get deer to come out in the daytime is hard anyways, no matter what you've got and what kind of equipment you got. So like I say, if you found this video useful, please like and share the video. Comment down below if you have any questions or concerns, or just want to make another suggestion for additional information or another video. And then also hit that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date with all the videos to come. I appreciate it. Thanks. Y'all have a good one.